Have you ever paused to wonder why certain things in life just don't seem to work? Like you put in the effort, you follow the steps, but somehow everything feels just unstable, like it's on the verge of collapsing. When you are in that place, it is actually not the time to push harder or move faster. It is time to begin to ask a critical question. Am I building on the right foundation? Psalm 11 verse 3 confronts us with a sobering reality. It says, if the foundations are destroyed, what can the righteous do? Think about that for a second. Even the most righteous, the most skilled, the most determined cannot stand firm if the very foundation they are standing on is weak or broken. Foundations matter, and they determine whether what you are building will last or come crashing down at the first sign of pressure. Jesus drives this point home in Matthew chapter 7. You see that from 24-27. He tells the story of two builders, one who built on rock and another on sand. Both builders faced storms, as in the rain poured, the winds came in and the floodwaters rose, but only the house built on the rock withstood the storm. The house on the sand, it actually fell. And Jesus doesn't just say it fell, he says great was its fall. This paints a vivid picture for us that storms in life are inevitable. Challenges, setbacks, uncertainties will always come. But the question isn't if they will come, the question is, will you be able to stand when they do? And that answer depends entirely on your foundation. And the thing with many people is we are trying to build a glorious life on a faulty foundation, which always plays out badly somewhere in the future. So what does a shaking foundation look like? It is when you are driven by temporary things So really, what does a shaky foundation look like? It is when you're driven by temporary things like money, fame, approval, or convenience, things that don't hold weight when life gets hard. So it is when your purpose is unclear and you are building for the wrong reasons. Or it's when God is an afterthought instead of the cornerstone of what you're trying to build. But here's the thing, discovering that your foundation is faulty isn't the end of the story. It is actually a gift. It is a chance to stop, evaluate, and rebuild. God is a master architect, and he's not afraid of a messy construction site. He invites us to this idea to tear down what is weak and rebuild on the unshakable foundation of his word, his purpose, and his truth. This actually isn't always easy. And in fact, sometimes rebuilding means starting over, letting go of things you've worked hard for, or admitting that you've been building on the wrong priorities. But it's actually worth it, because when the storms come, and they will surely come again, you will be ready this time, and you won't just survive, you will thrive. So I want you to just take a moment to reflect. If things feel like they are falling apart, maybe it's time to dig deeper and ask, am I building on sand, or I'm building on the rock? The difference between the two isn't just about survival, it's about whether what you are building will stand the test of time. And for every man, every woman out there listening, I believe we are in that season where you ought to begin to reevaluate the strategies for which you intend to build this glorious destiny that God has for you. If at any point you discover that nothing is working the way you want it to work, more than pushing harder, more than putting in more effort, stop in your tracks and just begin to analyze if the foundation upon which you are building is equipped enough to carry the destiny you are trying to experience. And for many people, the foundations upon which we are building are extremely faulty, based on background, mindset, self-limiting beliefs, thought patterns that do not enable this prophetic destiny that God has for us to be fulfilled. So, for somebody listening to this, I want to encourage you, take out time from your daily activities and sit with God. In fact, sit with God, talk to God. Let Him begin to show you the areas of your life where you ought to strengthen and rebuild the foundation. For many people, you are not seeing that level of wealth because of the mental foundation you have carried all the way back when you were young. For some, it is time for you to re-educate yourself, transform yourself by exposing yourself to materials that will empower you mentally and break the strongholds of self-limiting beliefs. So please go out there, press into what you ought to press into by changing your life and working on those foundations. God bless you.